wonder if I'm going to be able to compete with football games. Let's see. Hey, y'all. I wonder if I'm going to be able to compete with Sunday football games. I just really don't know. Okay, hang in with me while I figure out how to do this flippin' selfie stick. It really does help, though, while I'm doing these things. How's the lighting? Is it good? Okay. Thank you for the heart. Is this making you crazy? Because I know it's making me crazy. I'm trying to figure out this selfie stick. Okay, but if I have it so far away, then I can't read your comments. So let me zoom it up a bit. Yeah, I'm pretty crazy, right? Can you use the... I don't know if I can use the stick like a tripod. I don't think I can. I'm just kind of trying to hold it. Stick, tick, I knew what you were talking about. Okay. Ow. Man, I'm getting old. Okay. Sorry that I was finagling around here. So, this is part 2 of vendor events. So, if you like what I'm saying, I'd love it if you would give me a heart, just so I know that I'm not out there talking to dead air. So anyway, here are some tips that I have on how you can find vendor events. And I actually have a whole sheet. So I'm going to be looking down occasionally because I took some notes on just some things that I've done. I sat here and brainstormed for a little bit. So first of all, friends, family, and customers, you know, your warm market. You always want to do that. If you're out and about and you hear people talking about a craft show or they're going to a ladies' night, you know, find out what that's all about. We get asked to go to those types of things. So find out if you can be a vendor there. So, you know, you've probably got that friend that you know every year goes and hits up all of the holiday craft events. You know, I'm thinking a friend of mine who used to always, I haven't seen her in probably 3 years, but that was her thing. Every fall, she went to every high school craft show. So, you know, Kim would probably be a good person for me to call and say, hey, what's the lineup of the favorite ones that you go to? So, you know, those people who go to those types of events, you can get that. Your local newspaper. A lot of times there's like a community calendar of events. So check that section out. It might even be virtual and online. You might not even have to go buy a physical newspaper, but that's a place to look. Also, if you have like local community papers, we have a paper here that's called like the Community Press or something like that. And that often lists a lot of local events. The Chamber of Commerce. Call your Chamber of Commerce. Join the Chamber of Commerce. You know, they've got great resources on when things are happening in the local community. And be willing to venture outside of your community. At the end of this, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I did in the beginning, almost 4 years ago, during event season, my first event season with Jamberry, some of the crazy things that I did. But definitely your local chamber is a place where you can go. Schools, churches, you know, I got out the phone book and I called all the local churches. I called schools and I asked, do you have PTA at the schools? Do you have a ladies' night out? Do you do a craft fair? Is there anything like that that I could become involved in where you have vendors and direct sellers to come? I called churches because churches a lot of times here in my area do ladies' night out during the fall season and the holiday season. Connect with other direct selling reps that you might know. Do you know somebody who sells Tastefully Simple or It Works or Herbalife or anything like that? Contact them and ask them if they are doing vendor events. Get involved in a networking group. I talked about that earlier on part 1, but definitely join a networking group if you can. If you're not involved in a networking group, you might be able to start one of your own. But a lot of times networking groups will do their own vendor event, and then that often opens you up to a whole group of people who are going to be able to who help you out. A gal on my team actually did a vendor event at a dress barn or a place like that. A lot of times local retailers are doing things to draw business their way. I did one, gosh, where was I? Oh, I don't even remember. Somebody asked me to do one. It was a kind of a strange location like that one time also. But be on the lookout for retailers who might be, oh, I know what it was. It was an Applebee's here in town. So be on the lookout for local restaurants, local bars. Some of the local bars here in town do lady night events. So there's a place I'm thinking of called Morgan's Roadhouse Tavern here, and I actually did a ladies' night out there. So be on the lookout for that. Community websites. You know, I live in White Oak, and it's in Green Township, and I think there's a Green Township web page. Go to those web pages and see if there's a local community calendar. Community Facebook pages, again, do the same thing. Check out your community Facebook pages. Festivals. Here where I live in the Midwest, we have lots and lots of festivals all summer long. See if you can get a booth there at those festivals. Again, like I talked about in the first part, sometimes it's not about selling, it's just about getting your name out and collecting information. County fair, state fair. Again, these are expensive, a more expensive type of events, but you would want to split those with your team, or perhaps, you know, find a way to make those work. But those are also big events that you can do. Charity events, you know, look in the paper if there's any charity events that are going on, or look for on Facebook and places like that, or if you know someone who's raising money for someone who's got an illness, or for something that's happened in your community, check those. Local sales sites, you know, if you're already going on those local selling sites, you can say, hey, does anybody know of any vendor events? Farmers markets, fall events, anything like that, craft fairs. Some places that I looked online, you can look on Craigslist, you can look on Craftlister. There's also another website that's called eventlister.com. There's another one that I loved, festivalsandevents.com and fairsandfestivals.com. And they list things all across the country. So lots of those types of places. Trade shows. And then what you can also do is you can go into Google Alerts and set up your Google Alerts to have different things just show up as it shows up in Google. So, and I put in things like craft fairs, Cincinnati, farmers market, Cincinnati, fall events, Cincinnati. You know, use those types of keywords. I have to tell you, in the very beginning when I started, I went to every single event I could get my hands on. I didn't pass on anything. So when you're looking to start your direct sales business, events can be a real crucial place to get outside of your warm market, to get into that cold market. I didn't pass on anything. $20, $30, I was there. Some of the more expensive ones, as I started to build a team, I would split and I would take someone else to go with me. But that was really a great way for me to build the volume of contacts in my database for the next 6 months to a year. And the fortune is definitely in the follow-up with your going to vendor events. So again, I hope this was helpful to you. Lots of places where you can look to find vendor events in this great fall selling season for direct sales. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will also YouTube this so it can be shared with your team, or you can catch it a second time. Thanks for tuning in. Chat with you soon.